My next guest, real funny guy, becoming a regular on the show, and I enjoy that. It gives us some credibility in the comedy world. The great Joe DeRosa. What's up, Joe?
Great to see you, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Joe was kind enough to invite me to his birthday party, which was held at the Stand, the great comedy club here in New York that I played a couple of times. And Tuesday night, it started around 11. You said you did a roast. You guys roasted you, and
It started at 10 o'clock.
Right.
My best friend that I grew up with came up. He met me at 9.
Now, where are you from?
Philly, outside of Philly.
okay.
Yeah. He met me around 8:30. And in a striking move of genius, we went to an oyster bar, and that was our base. We just loaded up on oysters.
Oh my
And
God!
we were doing shots of whiskey and eating these oysters. And I go, we ordered entrees, and I go, dude, we gotta go. I'm gonna be late for the roast. We didn't eat any of the entrees. We get to the thing.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate roast joke for the rest of the people who showed up if you didn't show up to your own roast? Say, I don't care about you.
How great would that have? Why didn't I do that?
Just F you. I'm not coming.
That would have been so great.
So who roasted you?
Voss was Rich Voss.
Great roaster.
Amazing. He was the roast master, and then Bonnie McFarlane, hilarious.
Also great. I did. Anthony Bourdain got roasted for some charity for the New York Comedy Festival, and I did that roast. Bonnie was on that, and she stole the night. She killed.
She's so funny.
Yeah.
She's so funny. And she's got this, like, her whole, like, sort of laid-back demeanor. She's just kind of talking up there, and at points you're like, is she just going off the script?
Right.
And then she slips the joke in, and it's just killer.
Really good. Really good.
So who else? Kurt Metzger, who's very funny.
Yeah, I know Kurt. Yeah.
Dan St. Germain, who's a younger guy who's really, really funny.
Right.
And Louis Katz was the other guy.
Right, yeah.
And it was great. And then I did my rebuttal at the end, which I started with, I'm completely wasted right now. And then there was a party. But I think, I texted you and you said I could maybe be there by 1:30.
Well, I'd have to do a show. So,
Right. Yeah. And at 1:30, I was sitting on a chair in front of the stand vomiting.
Well, it makes me very upset I did not go. Vomiting up oysters.
Oysters.
Where'd you go? What oyster bar did you go?
There's a place called something Premier in Williamsburg where I live. It's a little French joint.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
That is the worst base, as you say, for boozing.
Well, I bounced it out with some Cherry Stone raw clams and 3 shrimp.
And then what do you drink when you drink? Do you have a specific drink?
Whiskey's my favorite thing ever.
What kind of whiskey?
I'm a big. I like a bourbon. I don't really like Scotch. I like Maker's Mark, like stuff like that.
Okay.
You know. Excuse me. And I was doing bourbon and beer for most of the night, and then somebody started feeding me Patron, and
Bad move.
it was
It's over at that point.
sideways.
It's over, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That is it. That is a wrap. Yeah, no, the Patron thing, the tequila with Makers. Oh my God!
And beer.
Oysters and
beer.
All right, and beer. Well,
So you get some carbonation in there.
There's video of it online.
yeah. Of course there is. That's
yeah.
it. Thank God. I did not go through like my 20s in the internet generation with YouTube. Thank God.
Oh my God.
I mean, do you know? I'm just thinking of what's on there anyway.
Right.
Because most of my stuff in the 30s was public.
Right.
But this was. I mean, I couldn't imagine if my friends had every one of my friends had a video camera. Think about it. Every one of your friends, when you go out of it, has a video camera. I mean, that is like, I couldn't imagine. There'd be stuff on there. I'd be in jail right now.
Yeah. It's a bad scene. It's a bad scene. It's not good.
So someone took a video of you.
They videotaped the whole roast. Somebody did videotape me throwing up, but I have the only copy of that video. I don't think that's going to go there. But somebody videotaped the roast, and they put it up on the Laugh Button website.
Right.
And this is how drunk I was when I was on stage. At one point, you see me yelling off to one of the owners of the stage, and I'm going, "Can I smoke? Can I smoke up?" And that was like totally rational
of course,
question.
Yeah, one of the owners, of course, is going to let you smoke on YouTube in New York City with Mayor Bloomberg at the helm.
Yeah, and in my head I was
They'll be
like,
shut down the next day.
in my head I was like, well, they smoke in Broadway plays because it's a performance. This is technically a performance. I should be allowed to smoke.
God, oh my God, I'm thinking of that right now. If during my 20s, every one of my friends had a video camera. Do you know how many times on YouTube you'd see me with a stripper, like, you know, saying, like, no, coke can't go through the skin on your ass. You can't get high. I mean, the irrational conversations with how many strippers I'd be telling, yeah, I know Ray Romano. Yeah, I know Ray Romano. One time at a strip club in La Cienega in the late 90s, I told a stripper, she goes, I heard you're a comedian. And I said, yeah. She goes, do you know Ray Romano? And I said, I'd met him like twice. I go, yeah, he's one of my best friends. And she goes, I wrote a spec script for Everyone Loves Raymond. And I said, well, get it. She goes, I have it in the back. I said, get it. And while she went to get it, I just ran out and I left. But could you imagine how great it would be if I had that script right now?
Oh, my God.
The worst mistake I ever made in my life.
Do a reading of it on the show.
Yeah, my God, are you kidding me? Every night.
Oh, my God, that's beautiful. I swear to God, one time, I went to a strip club in Philly, and this girl was one of the hottest, she was one of the hottest chicks I've ever seen in my life. No, it was cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And this girl,
I know cheerleaders.
We went in the middle of the afternoon. We were the only guys there.
Yeah.
And when you see the one, you're like, that's who all my lap dance money is going to.
Which is a good move.
Yeah.
You should consolidate. If you're single and you can partake and maybe picking up a stripper, you have to go, okay, tunnel vision.
Right.
Because they'll think you're a big spender.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So I went back to the room with her. And I got many lap dances.
Right.
I was a young man at this point. I was 21, maybe even 20. No, 21 because it's a bar. And in so many words, she got the job done.
Right, great.
Not through anything illegal, just through the dancing. And then
statute of limitations is up. Don't worry about it.
Right. And then she stops and she goes, so what do you do? And I go, oh, I'm trying to be a comic. And she goes, listen, I'm producing a film. I think you should come in and audition. And I did. I went in and auditioned for this movie. And she's sitting and she goes, this and that do not mix.
No, wait a minute. You did? You went to the audition?
I went to the audition. I went to the audition.
This and that don't mix. What she said, dummy up about this when you come here?
Yeah, she was like, when you go to that audition on Tuesday or whatever it was, she was like, you do not mention that this is where we met.
Me.
And I went in. Yeah, and I bombed. Oh my God, did I bomb at this audition?
Listen, that's great that you went.
Yeah, and she was all dressed up in like a business sort of skirt suit.
Of course.
With the hair pulled back.
She was that hot.
She looked even hotter at the audition than she did in the bikini at the strip club.
Well, she's not in the movie. She's just a producer. I love that aspect of it.
Believe it or not, I've never seen the film. She might be in it. I don't know.
Do you realize how much you're blowing my mind right now? Just I never realized that when you go out now with your buddies, every one of them has a video camera.
Yeah.
That's this big.
Right.
And it's quality like you could shoot a film type quality.
Right.
iPhone video is better than anything ever taken in 1982.
Right.
You could have like $1 million worth of equipment, and iPhone's better quality. It goes like this, so any idiot and friend can tell. Oh my God, I can't believe that. The stuff that would be on film right now. I mean, like, is anybody else with me on this?
Mike is.
But I mean, also too, though, if you were a guy that still went out to the bars and stuff, you'd have that problem right now.
Oh no, well, that's the thing. Then it became. Then once I got on Stern, everything I did was videoed everywhere.
Right.
So, and there's stuff on YouTube that I can't. Oh my God. God.
How does a guy like you think of a guy like I don't know, like Vince Vaughn.
Right. How is he not videotaped every single?
Yeah.
Like how is there not more on him? You mean? Like I can't believe that either.
I don't. I mean, I'm assuming there are celebrity bars where just like there are celebrity restaurants where it's like, hey, that's not cool in here.
Right.
But it's like he seems like such a normal dude. Like he seems like such a down to earth guy. It's like how is that not happening to him all the time?
Or like someone like Springsteen or something. I just, at some point you have to stop being a down to earth guy. At some point nowadays you have to stop doing it.
Right.
You know? Like you have to say no, or you have to be a jerk off that you don't want to be.
Right.
You
and
know?
you have to cross into that fake Billy Joel, like I'm a tough guy with a leather jacket.
Yeah. And you're an uptown girl and I'm a downtown guy.
Although Billy did deliver when he drove the car through that lady's house.
Of course. Yeah. Billy's delivered a couple of times. He's delivered a couple of times. This goes back to why right after I got this job, we were still up at the old place doing it on radio when we first started doing this show. And I was walking to work, and a guy came up to me and said, I just gotten out of rehab really a few months before. And the guy said, hey, Artie, I'm one of your biggest fans. I hung out with you once in Portland, Oregon. I said, I don't think I've ever been to Portland, Oregon. He pulls out a picture of me and him I got my arm around the kid, and in the back is a sign that says, "Welcome to Portland, Oregon." I'm not kidding. I'm like, you got me there. And I said, what was I doing? He goes, yeah, you did stand up there. No, I had done so much of the road at one point, and I was so messed up on everything that they had melded into one another gigs, and I did the Pacific Northwest. I remember Seattle, so I could have stuck a Portland there, a lot of San Francisco, Vancouver, I know I did. So I could have stuck it, but he goes, you were doing stand up, and I said, did you see me? And he said, yeah. I said, I wasn't. He goes, you seemed a little drunk. Anyway. That's fun that you could, isn't it fun to have, to know really funny guys like Voss and Bonnie that can roast you? It's a fun thing to do for your birthday.
It was nice. It was Voss's idea. I never would have suggested doing something like that for myself. What happened was I was in the car with Dave Kimowitz, who's one of the owners of the stand.
Yeah, I know Dave.
I said to him, I go, listen, I'm thinking of having a party next week for my birthday. I'll do it at your bar. I'll just tell everybody to come over and drink.
Cool.
And he goes, great. And I just go, you know what? Let me call Voss and invite him. And I called Voss on speakerphone. And I go,
let's roast you.
Yeah, he goes, we should roast you. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And
we should roast you.
Yeah. There were 3 extra S's in roast.
Dummy, we should roast you, stupid.
Okay, here's the thing.
Okay, here's the thing, stupid. Okay, here's the thing, stupid. We're gonna roast you.
So it was fun, man.
That's great.
It was really fun.
I wish I would have. See, again, that's the only thing about the schedule is, but comics can. That's the other thing. Even comics have gotten less nocturnal. In the old days, 1 o'clock is like, my God. You'd be there till 7 a.m., 8 a.m., But you can't do that anymore. You can't. What sucks about that? Not to sound old and bitchy, which I always end up sounding like. But, I don't mind that you can't stay out till 8 a.m. smoking inside and doing whatever you want inside at a shot and beer kind of bar on the Lower East Side. I just mind that you can't do it on the Lower East Side. I don't mind that you can't do it in the suburbs anywhere. But I hate that there's not. Maybe not all of New York. I just hate that there's not even a part of New York City where you could still legally do that. I'm not talking about shooting heroin in the gutter.
Right.
I'm talking about acting like an adult, making adult choices. I'm an adult. I want to have a cigarette.
Right.
I want to have a 17-ounce soda.
Right.
I want to gamble on a pool game.
Yeah.
I want to shoot pool and maybe throw $10 on the game, and I want to have fun like an adult does, and I want it to be legal in just this part of town.
Yeah, I know, but the Bloomberg thing, movement, hasn't helped any of that.
Well, that's what I mean. It's destroyed it. It started with Giuliani.
Yeah.
And then it went to another level with Bloomberg. And I understand, and he did clean up the city. Look, in the 70s, late 70s, 80s, even into the early 90s, the city, you walked around the city and it was a dying city.
Right.
Like Venice or whatever you want to say. It was gone, man. It was bankrupt, especially the late 70s. But I wish one part of it was left to where okay,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's become very, very safe and very, it's to the point I'm waiting to bring a girl home and feel Bloomberg tapping me on the shoulder going, you have to put a condom on right now.
That.
You know what I mean? It's like dangerous fun in New York is near impossible. Yeah, and now what you have to do is you have to find the place where the guy, where he's like, we'll lock the doors. You guys can stay in here. Once the doors are locked, you can smoke, whatever. I remember when Attell was still, when he used to still hit the town, we'd go to places.
Well, I do after-hours clubs that were around. And again, I can't go to them because it'll test my sobriety in ways I can't even go near.
Right.
With coke and stuff. But I used to go to after-hours clubs that, were those moving after-hours clubs where they stayed in one place for 2 weeks, and then you had to know somebody who tells you where it moved.
Right.
It had the same name, and they said, that moved here.
Right.
And you go to a different address. Yeah, and kind of anything went. But,
Attell always knew a guy that would let us in.
Yeah, Dave went at it pretty hard.
Come on, now let us in, man.
Well, the thing was, it was a city that was much more set up for a guy like Attell, which I like. I guess me as well. If you're that nocturnal, and Dave is a vampire,
right?
If you're that nocturnal, it was set up for someone that nocturnal,
right?
And you could. And then if you're a guy who was as good at stand-up as he was,
right.
He just ruled the town. There was a time when Attell ruled the comedy scene, and it was fun hanging out with him,
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. The funniest thing about hanging out with Attell in those days was I was so new in the city. I was so enamored just to be out with him.
Yeah.
And I still look up to him in that same way.
Right.
But especially at that time, it was like, my God, it was surreal. I couldn't believe it was happening. And he'd be like, come on, come drink with us.
Right.
And we'd go downtown. And I'd end up on the Lower East Side somewhere with him. I had no idea where I was or how to get home because I lived in like Middle Village, Queens at the time.
Right.
And I'd be so drunk that I felt I was going to fall over. And then all of a sudden he'd be like, see ya. And he would leave. And then you're like swaying in some bar next to some girl with a nose ring.
Well, Attell was also famous for the Irish goodbye. Just like he's gone. You don't see him anymore. But we were just starting to hang out like that on a heavy level when I had to move to LA in '95, and I went to LA, and I lived in LA from '95 to '01. I was like, oh, it was just starting to get like that. And when I would come back, I'd hit it pretty hard. But a lot of younger guys, especially, don't realize, especially when you meet Dave now, because he's so humble,
Right.
And he's older now, but how he just ran. He was the king of comedy, the king of stand-up comedy. For like the people who knew what was going on.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
Dave Attell,
Yeah, and you'd walk down the street with him. Cops would come up. Dave, what's up?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was like every time you hung out with him, it was like being inside of an episode of Insomniac.
Yeah.
And it was like, my God, even without the crew and the cameras and everything, everybody still knows him and are walking up and want to be a part of whatever he's doing. You know, that's just who he is. Really, really fun.
Yeah. So for a while, me and him had a Vinny down at the Stress Factory would say, like me and Attell would play there like 2 different weekends, and it was always a competition on whose crowd drank more. Like one weekend, like you said, both crowds drank an insane amount of booze, and then on top of the booze Dave and I drank, he would make so much money because they bought us drinks. So we're dying to book us. I gotta take a break. We'll be right back. What are you plugging anything specifically right now? What do you got going on?
Yeah, new album September 3rd.
Oh, great.
Austin, Texas at the end of August, and I'll be at the Stand in New York all before then.
Great.
Yeah.
Joe DeRosa. We'll be right back with Joe after this.